approached the table. "You must be Tom. I'm Julie." She extended her hand. Tom had been frowning at the menu, and he continued to frown as he looked up at her. Apparently, he'd already found her lacking. He wasn't unattractive. She could admit that much. He had short black hair, which was neat. Of course it was neat, and there was nothing wrong with his features, although his lips were rather thin and severe. She didn't feel butterflies, only mild irritation. Why the fuck was he already frowning? He seemed to realize what he was doing and changed his expression to a small smile before shaking her hand.
"Hi, Julie."
The rumble of his voice was nice, and his hand was warm. Hers were cold from the walk in the chilly November air. She didn't let her hand linger in his, though. "Nice to meet you," she said, even though she didn't quite feel that way.
"Likewise."
She picked up her menu. "What looks good?" Before Tom could answer, the waitress came around. Julie ordered a margarita, and Tom ordered a glass of the house red. He probably thought margaritas were too wild. She studied the menu. "Would you like to split the street corn as an appetizer?" He frowned again. He was getting on her nerves. Couldn't he at least try to have a pleasant meal with her? "Oh, please," she said. "Are you going to tell me you don't like corn on the cob? Are you afraid it'll mess up your paisley tie?" Yep. Now that she was closer, she could see his tie was paisley. Totally not her thing.
"I don't like how corn on the cob gets stuck in my teeth,"
he said. He was probably also obsessive about oral hygiene and would be horrified to learn she'd had a few cavities.
"And it has mayo. I don't like mayo,"
he continued. Oh dear. Nope, they definitely weren't compatible. Julie lived for mayo. Mayo was freaking delicious. Well, whatever. She really wanted the street corn, so she'd eat both cobs herself, then have 2 tacos instead of 3. "What are you getting?" she asked.
"The carne asada bowl,"
he said. "This place is famous for its tacos, you know."
"I'm aware."
"But you don't like tacos?"
"They're too messy."
"I know hard-shell tacos are messy, but that's not what they serve here."
"They're still messy,"
he said.
"Difficult to eat. I hate when the filling falls out."
You don't like corn on the cob, you don't like mayo, you don't like tacos. What do you like, Tom Yeung? Brown rice, baked chicken breast, and steamed broccoli? Folding your underwear?
"I wouldn't say I like folding my underwear."
"But you do fold your underwear?" He sipped his water and didn't deign to respond.
"There's nothing wrong with having a few foods you don't like and being a little picky."
Very true. It was just that those foods were things she considered, well, fun. Their drinks arrived, and the waitress took their orders. Tom had changed his mind about the carne asada bowl and ordered tacos instead. At least he was polite to the waitress. That was one thing she could say in his favor. When the waitress left, an uncomfortable silence descended on the table. Tom sipped his wine, and Julie licked the salt off the rim of her margarita. She could feel him judging her, and she half expected a lecture on the dangers of too much salt. "So, tell me about yourself," she said. They had to pass the time somehow, even though she was already sure they weren't compatible. He scratched the back of his neck.
"I was born in Hong Kong."
So, this guy was starting with his birth. Great.
"I have no siblings,"
he said.
"We moved to Canada when I was 6.
She suspected his Cantonese was better than hers. She wished her language skills weren't so poor, but she hadn't been the most attentive pupil. Rather than Saturday morning Chinese school, not available in her hometown of Ashton Corners or anywhere nearby, Julie's parents had given her lessons themselves on the weekends, which she'd been less than thrilled about as a child. She bet Tom hadn't caused his parents so much grief. "I hear you're a pharmacist," she said.
"Yes, at a hospital."
"Did you always want to be one?" He shrugged.
"I had a few career ideas over the years."
"Nothing as crazy as stunt performer or rock?"